Hello, I'm Dr. Kunal Ray, and today I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about On Eating, which is a multilingual online journal of food and eating cultures in India, founded, curated, and edited by Shumana Roy and myself, and supported by Takshila Education Society. We publish On Eating once a month. The journal is free for anyone to read on our website, www.oneating.in. Today, I want to briefly talk to you about how we started this online journal and what we wish to achieve with this digital repository of eating cultures in India. During the long COVID-induced lockdown, as the questions of life thinned down to its basics, a lot of conversations began to naturally revolve around food. Millions were stuck inside their homes, waiting for food, while another lot was left homeless, often resorting to violent protests demanding their right to food. Many of us observed these events from the safe confines of our homes while expressing helplessness in the face of the tragedy that was unfolding outside. At the same time, we also found a section of people absorbed in online discussions about and around food and the comfort associated with it. There was nothing extravagant about the kind of food that was being discussed and showcased on these platforms. These comprised relatively simple and easy to make home-cooked food, unlike those that adorn food websites. Shumana Roy and myself, the founders of On Eating, observed this phenomenon closely, owing to our interest in food and food-related conversations. Owing to our backgrounds in teaching, reading, writing, and research, our conversation also veered towards food writing in India and the lack of intelligent and varied food writing in the public sphere. We also bemoaned how food writing in India has almost unconsciously become synonymous with food reviews, restaurant profiles, recipe books, some academic and memory-based writing on food. In our analysis, most of this writing failed to represent people like us, who live fairly ordinary lives and eat regular home food. We were also conscious of the fact that there is a growing interest in food writing in India, which is evident through the number of publications dedicated to food every year. Besides, several English language newspapers now have dedicated pages for food or sections featuring food-based writing. While that is interesting, we also noticed a sameness in the vocabulary of writing and ways of looking at food in the writing that is coming out of Anglophone India. A subject such as food is by its very nature messy. Messy in many ways. Messy because of faulty and corrupt systems of distribution, of inequities in the country and the household, messy on tables and cloths and mouths. Besides, food is just not sociological. It could be used to examine several other facets of life. Anthropological discourses are helpful, but we wish that they were accessible to those that are being written about. And perhaps those that are being written about could also narrate their story on their own terms, which can happen through video or visual-based interventions, if not writing. While we identified the problem, we also began thinking about our own efforts, which could be helpful to remedy the situation, even though in a small way. What if we could invite a plethora of people from diverse cultural, social, and economic backgrounds to share their experiences, adventures, misadventures, and other stories related to food? In these writings, food would also transform into a lens to examine politics, identity, ideology, spirituality, community, personal and public history, amongst other issues. It would therefore result into a collective effort, representative of the diversity that constitutes India. We further wanted to share these with a reading public beyond India, interested in examining India through a fresh idiom. The idea of setting up an online journal was thus born after careful deliberations. We conceived On Eating as a living archive of stories about food that doesn't merely engage with the sociological aspects of food and eating, but also with its human nature. We also thought a great deal about the title or name of our endeavor and agreed upon On Eating, a commonplace utterance emblematic of our intentions as a journal which wants to prioritize thinking about food in the context of regular everyday life. The multilingual existence of On Eating seemed natural to us, especially because we live in a country where people live inside more than one language. We wanted our journal to be an archive of as many kinds of eating cultures as possible. Keeping it an English language journal would have restricted its scope. English India eats and writes differently from the other parts of the country. It is our ambition that the people and culture being written about should be able to read what is being written about them, and hence the natural decision to keep the writing in the language in which it has been written, along with English and another language. We usually ask the writer what language they would like their writing to be translated into. Often the choice that the writer makes is a political one. Think of a menu card on a street-side mobile restaurant. Its unique language of English, Hindi, the local languages, and their received pronunciation. The language of that menu is a living thing. We want the same for On Eating. So far, we have published in over 14 Indian languages, including Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, Hindi, Assamese, Odia, Malayalam, amongst others, and we want to do more. We also envisioned the journal as an inclusive space where different kinds of people could contribute. Further, we wanted to break away from the notion of the writer as someone who writes books or only engages with the act of writing. We wanted to extend writing about food beyond the writers and include many other voices whom we may not strictly identify as writers otherwise. Food, after all, is an essential ingredient of all human life. Alongside noted names from the world of letters, we have invited artists, performers, craft historians to share their food stories with us. Besides, it was a conscious decision to also feature art along with the writing. Art that is not illustrative, but which complements the writing as an additional or parallel text. In our published essays, writers have shared photos from personal archives to further accentuate the writing and help readers connect better to the person, location, or food being written about. This is the advantage of the digital medium. The digital medium also offers an easy access to a large population in this country who may not otherwise afford to read food writing published in books, magazines, or any other traditional media platforms, which comes at a price. Since inception, essays published in On Eating have traveled the country and various parts of the world because of its digital nature. Digital has also afforded us the opportunity to include visuals, films, music files, or hyperlink pre-existing videos to support the writing. In many ways, these essays also turn into archives, where written text interfaces with visuals and sometimes audio, preserving memory, lost traditions, lesser-known food cultures, and personal stories, amongst other aspects. In an essay published last year, we used audio files recorded by the writer's mother reading out her own recipes. This further amplifies the experience of reading or encountering a text for the readers, and the voice will live as long as the writing. Since the beginning, we wanted to be multilingual. Each issue comprising an essay is published in 3 languages. This also gives us a wide readership beyond the narrow confines of the English-speaking and reading audience in India and abroad. While English does help for the text to be read beyond the national borders, but other Indian languages gives us a pan-Indian readership, which is a significant number at most of the country. It must also be said, a digital publication involves relatively less logistics than print. Ours is a simple and functional, easy to navigate website to to maneuver and maintain. The logistics involved in such a process is less complicated as a result. Here we would also like to acknowledge the help and support of Takshila Educational Society in publishing our journal. A grant received from the organization helped us to begin this initiative and sustain its activities. We also receive web-based support from the same organization to publish the journal online. A small honorarium from the grant received is paid to all contributors to the journal. The grant has also helped to keep our website advertisement-free. In terms of writing featured in the journal, we try to do a mix, invite some people to write, and choose the rest that comes via the submission option on the website. The first few issues published in On Eating were by invitation only. We wanted to set a benchmark or a standard for future writers to emulate, not necessarily as imitation, but to make our publication intention clear vis-a-vis what kind of food writing we want to publish, themes, ideas that interest us as curators. The opening essay by noted Dalit writer Manoranjan Bapari is subversive in many ways. Bapari talks about his life as a cook and the humiliation that he suffered during such a time. He also writes about social hierarchies through food and turning eating and cooking into resistance. Bapari's inaugural essay set the tone for the journal in terms of the rigor and honesty of expression that we expect from contributors. In the second essay that we published, we asked dancer and pedagogue Leela Sampson to write about food eaten by a dancer. We realized there is great curiosity about the subject, but barely any writing about the same. Fitness for a dancer is crucial because dance is a visual form and the body is the main instrument for a dancer. Sampson turned her essay into an autobiography of sorts, glimpsing into her life through the food she has eaten. This is a sort of curatorial intervention that we aspire to make through On Eating. The archive section on our journal website contains all old issues, which any visitor can access for free at any point in time. Several of these essays are now being taught in classrooms in India and abroad. Their continuous availability on the website and the digital nature of the journal is therefore crucial. We also have a free subscription option at the bottom of our homepage on the journal website. A visitor can avail free subscription by registering their name and email address. The reach of our journal has been largely through word of mouth, authors sharing their writing in their networks, and circulation on social media. On Eating will run in its present format, disseminating stories about food from various corners of the country and in multiple languages. We want to accommodate more visual-based stories such as photo essays and short films to also reach those who may want to engage with these conversations but not strictly through written text. Our first venture into commissioning a short film resulted in a young filmmaker, Amit Kumar, making a nearly 6-minute long film about the disappearance of the milkman from his village, replaced by customized packaged milk delivery. In the film, Kumar also mourns the loss of a local culture and the advent of global capitalism in his village in Haryana. We will continue to work steadfastly to document, preserve, and highlight the diversity of India through food. Thank you.